Well, folks, I just went and bought another piece of junk that needs fixing up. This time, it's another hay wagon, or at least it was and will be. Although previously, I think it was a truck. This is an old auto frame that this is built on. It's actually somewhat of a common thing that probably was done. I don't know that people do it quite so much anymore. But if you end up with a truck or whatever where the body panels are rusted out and the engine's blowing on it and stuff like that, it wasn't an uncommon thing just to strip everything off from it and then put some boards on and turn it into a hay wagon. And obviously, many years ago, probably several decades ago, that's what this was. This thing popped up on Craigslist this morning and the price was right. And I'm actually kind of disappointed because they had two of them listed. And I was fully intending to get both of them, except the other one, the frame was really badly rusted out. And you know that if I'm saying that it was bad enough that I didn't want to mess with it, that it was pretty bad. But as far as I'm concerned, that one was just, that was destined for the scrap pile. It was not worth messing with. But I did end up coming back with, I don't know if you can see in there or not, a set of tires for it too, and they didn't even have that listed. So I've got six rims and 4 tires, so I should be able to get something usable out of that for the wheels, and then of course for the rest of it we'll be firing up the sawmill again. Alrighty folks, well, it's been I think around 3 or 4 months since I picked this thing up, which compared to the last set of running gear that I got, this is pretty timely that I'm actually getting around to working on it. And the first thing I want to do is tear all of this old rotten wood off of here, and that'll also let me know how much of this hardware I'm going to need to get replacements for. I'd like to reuse as much of it as I can, but some of it is pretty rusty. So I have a feeling some of this is end up getting cut off of here and we'll have to buy some new stuff. Although, you know what? Just got to thinking. These little cross beams here, on this, they're only 3 inches wide and I cut mine 4. Which actually means that these bolts may not fit for the ones going this way. The long, I don't know what you call them, stringers or whatever, I did them the same dimensions, so that would still work. Forgot about that. Oh well. Alright, well that is all of our cross pieces off from here, so now we're just left with our 2 main beams, and I think all we've got is just 3 bolts holding each one of these on here, which those actually didn't go too badly considering how rusted up that stuff was. Maybe half of those bolts will be reusable. The rest of them we'll have to get some new hardware. So that means that these are probably going to come off really hard for as well as that stuff came off there. Alright, so now that we got both of our main beams off of there, I'm just going to leave them up here for now because I'm going to have to use these as a template for the new ones because we kind of got a little bit of rise that goes up on our frame here. So I'll just use this to trace onto the new ones so I know where to cut out. So we're going to leave those up there for now. But before I start adding new stuff back on here, I want to get our wheels off of here, get the new tires on, get them aired up, get all those on there so it's setting a little bit better. And then we can start putting the new wood back on top. Alright, so the valve stem looks to be halfway decent, but seeing as we're tearing everything apart, I'm just going to go ahead and take it out of there, replace it, and hopefully make sure that this isn't going to be something that goes out in another year or something, so we'll just get that right on out of there. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, I suppose I probably ought to get a gauge and see how much I'm putting in it before I inflate it too much. One down, 3 to go. Well, this one proved to be a little bit more challenging to get off there than the one on the other side. I'm guessing it's been on there a little bit longer because the other side, the lug nuts just came right off, and this one, every single one of them was fighting me. Now the reason I switched it off from time-lapse is because I wanted to show you something. I have never seen one of these before, and I'm actually going to zoom you in a little bit so you can see a little bit better. So the cap on this valve stem here, I've never seen one like this. It's got a little ball on the end of there, and there's a spring in it, and what it does is when it's screwed on, you can push on that and you can let the air out. I've never seen one like that before. I've seen ones that have like a little valve stem remover on it, so you know, take it off and you can stick it in there and pull it out, but I've never seen one like that before. That is really cool. Alrighty, well, we got the back ones done. I'm putting exactly 50 psi in both of these. That way I can come back in like another day or two, check it, and make sure we aren't getting any pressure drop on that. Make sure there's no slow leaks on them. But I've already got the front jacked up over here, so let's see if we can't get these two knocked out as well. Alright, well, we got it moved away from the mill house here, so this is now closer to where the lumber is that we're going to be putting on here for the new hay wagon deck. And you may notice that we're missing a couple tires on here. There was a couple slow leaks around the bead. I've got those back over at the mill house. We'll mess around with those a little bit, see if we can get those to seat a little bit better. If not, maybe throw tubes in them or something, maybe try putting some goop on it. I don't know. We'll come back to that later. But for today, we're going to try getting some wood on top of our wagon frame. So, as you may notice, these main beams that run the length of the wagon, because this is an old truck frame, this kind of comes up through here, so we got to cut a little bit of an arc coming up into our beam so that it'll sit flat from end to end. So what we're going to do is we're going to grab our new beam, bring it over here, we'll set this one on top, grab the pencil and trace that arc onto there, and then cut that out. We're going to try using the circle saw, put some cuts in there, and then knock it out with a chisel, and I think it'll probably be plenty good enough, plenty smooth enough for what we're using it for. Give that a test fit and see how it looks. Now I also need to take out just a little bit right around in there to get around that bracket. I suppose I could cut that off of there, but I think it'll take less time just to shave a little bit right out of there. Alright, I think that'll do it. Alright, so now that I've got a hole going all the way through here, it's not the right size for the bolt, but I should be able to take my 1/2 inch now and just drill this out to size. And since I've got it going from both, well, since I've got it going all the way through, I can drill this shorter bit from both sides to get it the full width all the way through, and hopefully it'll line up just perfect. Whoop, get it going the right way. That's interesting. There we go. already. I have a feeling we aren't going to be lucky enough to get both of these to happen to match up just right on the first try. But we'll see. Oh, really? Man, look at that. Alright, so I think I've got everything pretty well squared up here. We got one of these cross pieces on the back and on the front, and I think we're ready to go. It's good enough for a hay wagon. It's within like a, I think, 1/8 of an inch corner to corner from either way, so it's good enough for this. So what we're going to do now is start grabbing some of these angle brackets. We'll get them kind of lined up on here, mark where our holes need to go for our bolts, start drilling holes and putting bolts on and getting these two end ones hooked in place real well. That way that we don't accidentally bump those and mess stuff up. And then we can start going through and filling in the ones in between. Oh! Yeah, that's right, isn't it? On this, they're only 3 inches wide, and I cut mine 4, which actually means that these bolts may not fit. Okay, I knew that. I knew that. I knew that. Alright, I think I now have all the bolts I need. I hope. I was kind of trying to guesstimate how many of these I'd be able to reuse, so hopefully I did my figuring right, but these should be long enough to barely make it through our 4x4s here, catch enough of the nut to be able to tighten that down, and we'll be good to go. There we go. Front and back are attached. Alright, so I only have one of these things left. The spacing on the cross pieces from the original stuff was a little bit wider. I'm doing mine on 2-foot centers, and theirs was slightly less, or no, slightly more. So they had one fewer of the cross pieces than I've got. And then I was missing one of these angle brackets just to start with. So 3 more, and I was looking, and from this bed frame that I've been chopping up, these little bits that are left from where I was cutting off pieces for the evaporator arch, that is just about the perfect length right there. So I think we're going to trim off 3 of these things, and we'll have our pieces. We'll have to drill some holes, but we'll be ready to go here in just a bit. Alright, well, we got all of those hooked on there. Got them all angle ironed on. It's a little bit different than when I did the wagon, which also is a hay wagon. It's just got the coupe build on top. Because with some of those, I actually used wooden pegs to hold some of these on here. Because I figured, you know, it doesn't really have a lot of weight on it. It's just a big box that sits on top of the frame, so it was fine. With this, it'll be getting used for all sorts of stuff probably, so wanted to have these really well hooked down. So the next step is to start getting some deck on here. We got some kind of ugly looking clouds coming through here. I'm not sure if we're gonna get anything of that or not, but we're gonna keep on plugging along. We got our boards cut right over there for the decking, and those are already cut to 2-foot increments, so they're like 4 foots and 8s and 10s or something like that. So what I want to do, I think I'm just gonna lay them out on here for now, kind of get them all moved around so that they're pretty well covering everything, fitting on here real well. And then I might have the 2 tires that were going flat fixed, so if it looks like they're good, we'll pop the tire. That's probably not the right. We'll put the tires back on here, get those hooked up, and then we can move this around closer to the mill house, and we can grab the air nailer and start getting these nailed down on. Alright, well, the Massey 35 is way over in the turkey field, that away with the egg and wagon. The 784 International, that doesn't have a drawbar on it right now. The pickup truck, which I moved it with before, I still haven't gotten the drive shaft connected back in on that yet, so we can't move with that. So I'm going to try using this thing. I'm hoping I can kind of get the tongue to hook, well, not hook, but seat in between 2 of the tines there, and I can kind of push it along and hopefully get it ending up somewhere over there where we can reach it with the air hose so we can get this thing nailed together. Alright, with that we're down to just the final run that's a weird width, so we'll have to wait until I guess morning and we'll cut a piece out on the mill that'll fit in here a little bit better, and this will be done. Alrighty folks, that is going to do it for the hay wagon build. As you can see, we've got it here moved in front of the mill house. Got the high tunnel behind me here. Moved here into the Springfield hay field. And this will be a really nice little thing to have done around here. It'll be handy to have a wagon that I can haul around behind the tractors. And that could be, of course, moving hay. You know, it is a hay wagon after all, or getting stuff like logs for the sawmill or firewood logs or stuff like that as well. But anywho, that is going to do it for today's video. As always, I appreciate you guys watching, and we got the other one over here. We'll see you next time. I don't need kisses. No, I'm good. I'm good. You stink. You really shouldn't have played with that skunk. That was a poor decision on your part. Nope, I really don't want you that close to me. We're good. We're good. Nope, nope, nope.